All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today on this beautiful Wednesday morning. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So real quick, if you can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat. Beautiful, appreciate it. All right. There. Cool. So dive into fundamentals, just overview of where we are, and then we'll take a look at some charts. My focus is going to be primarily on the dollar pairs today, due to the news that we have coming up. So let's get to it. There we go. All right. So bond yields on the rise. Government bond yields continue to rise as traders were awaiting critical data for the U.S. that could provide clues about the outlook for interest rates. ISM manufacturing PMI, JOLTS job openings, and FOMC meeting minutes are due today, while the jobs report and services PMI are expected on Friday. The 10-year note is at in the U.S. hit 3.9%, while the German Bund approached 2.1. All right, so and you see the correlation with the DXY, right? The DXY is pulling back, pushing to the upside, and you see these bond yields creeping up a bit. But focus is on today, those meeting minutes, and some of the data that'll be coming out today as well. So we'll continue to monitor that and see how those things correlate, to see if that data lines up with the expectation of cuts this year, and then we'll see reactions from there. Also, we have oil. Yesterday, we saw oil pushing to the upside, and today we're seeing more downward pressure. Brent crude futures slipped over 1.5%, hitting 3-week low, under $75 a barrel. This drop followed a 1.5% loss in previous session due to a sell-off in risk assets, which overshadowed concerns regarding tensions in the Middle East. The market sentiment on the first trading day of the year shows stocks and other risky assets under pressure, with the dollar and treasury yields bouncing back as investors temper their expectations for major central bank interest rate cuts. The market remained burdened by rising global supply, specifically for non-OPEC producers, and uncertainty in the demand outlook. Traders are closely monitoring geopolitical developments in Iran, as they boldly deployed warships to the Red Sea to challenge U.S. forces in a vital trade route. Also on the weekend, Navy helicopters destroyed 3 Houthi boats, resulting in casualties as they attempted to board a container ship in the Red Sea. So those tensions are continuing to escalate, right? And we got some back and forth happening. So we'll see if we'll see what happens in those meeting notes and in the data, and see if it lines up, and see if we get a shift in this perspective at some point. All right. Then we had German jobless rate edging up. European shares slightly down on Wednesday. Everybody's looking for this data that's coming, and then dollar holds on risk off sentiment, as they're cautiously awaiting the data and the meeting notes. All right, so let's hop over to the calendar. Right, and this is where we are today. All right, so we got FOMC member coming to the market phone at 8:30. ISM manufacturing PMI, JOLTS job openings today, ISM manufacturing prices, and then those FOMC meeting minutes. Okay, out of Japan tonight, we got manufacturing PMI. So we want to start watching that data and see how things start to shift as that data comes out, if it's going to shift, right? Yeah, so that's where we are today. That's what we'll focus on. So like I said, I want to take a look at dollar pairs as some of them are coming into some key scenarios that could be vital for us. So, Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I am doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Got a busy day today, fundamentally, huh?
Yeah, man. It's starting to
Yeah,
starting to pick up.
yeah, man. Good to see that. Good to see that UCAD picking up, right? Technically, we saw that DXY support and getting the reaction, so that's good. Good way to start the year.
It's a great way to start the year, man. Great way to start the year. Any other thoughts from a fundamental perspective?
Oh no, man. I mean, it makes sense for the bond yields to rise. You got a little uncertainty. You got a little risk off sentiment. Got your indices and things like that. Your stock selling off just a little bit just to come into the year due to a little bit of uncertainty in those medium minutes that's coming up. So it all makes sense, man. Technicals and fundamentals together, right? That the fundamentals provide support to what we see technically. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I like starting out the year. We got a busy week, so we get some early volatility here. So and then of course, also that that uncertainty with the war, man. You got war, you got war going
Mm-hmm.
on, and then this year too, people have to remember. But you got like I forget how many elections you're gonna have this year across the world. It's a huge election year.
Huge
So
election
you
year.
got investors that are going to be positioning themselves for that as well. A lot of shifting back and forth. So we should get some good volatility this year.
Yeah, man. And that's it'll be interesting to see how the economy and interest rates play into those elections as well, and how that narrative evolves with the politicians and how they spin that piece of it, and be it for themselves or against the other party or individual. So that'll be interesting, man.
Absolutely.
Cool. Appreciate you. Team, any questions or thoughts or anything that you guys have come across from a fundamental perspective that you want to put on the table? No?
Nope.
All right. Cool deal, Jim. Good morning, man. All right. Let's take a look at the DXY. Let's take a look at the DXY. And this is what we saw yesterday. That push off of that low, moving to the upside, right? And here we go. Boom. Right? That 80-20 on the DXY. Boom. We're getting a move back to the upside, coming into a level of daily resistance that we want to keep our eyes on as well. And we'll see if we're able to break that level, continue moving up, or does price hold at the level and and move back down. Uh I didn't hear about earthquake Greece. I gotta read up on that. Uh
Oh yeah,
I
in
don't know.
Japan, in Japan.
Impact fundamentally, Benny. Do you think there'll be some or any?
Could be. It could be for the yen. Depending on how you know what is it doing to the manufacturing base. For their ability to export right now with the earthquake. So
Yeah.
different things like that. I still got to read up, a lot on it myself, to see its impact and what sectors have been hit,
Mhm.
hard. But yeah, that it matters. Natural disasters matter
They do.
for sure,
They
absolutely. So
do.
thanks for bringing that up because I totally forgot about that. I don't know how, but because it's a
Yeah.
pretty
I missed
sizable
it
earthquake.
altogether.
But
I didn't
yeah,
even know that it occurred. So
yep.
cool. I appreciate that. I'll definitely do some research for that. Appreciate that, Reese. Um, so moving into a key level of daily resistance. So we'll watch this as we move through the morning and see what the reaction will be, right? Will it be a pullback and a continuation north, or will it be a break and retest, right? And then the third option would be just a continuation to the downside. Okay. So things to watch as we move through the day with the data, with the members coming to the microphone, and with the meeting minutes coming out this afternoon, right? So it'll be interesting to see where we go from there. Okay, so that is the dollar. Questions here? Nope. All right, cool deal. Let's update on some of the pairs that we had setups on yesterday. Starting with this dollar CAD, right? We're moving. We're moving, right? Um, got the break, got the push. Didn't get a pullback at all, and we're just continuing to push to the upside. So out of the zone there. Whoops, wrong tool. Out of the zone there. We're up over 100 pips, 108 pips as of right now. And we got a little bit to go, right? So this makes sense. So if the dollar continues to push to the upside, right, we'll see this continue to rise as well. Okay. If we get a pullback into continuation, same thing applies, right? Pullback for then a continuation. Whoops. For then a continuation long, right? So we'll watch to see how that plays from a 4 hour time frame perspective. Come down to the one, and we got the move to the upside. So now we can start running our fibs off the low, right? And looking at these ABCD waves to the upside as we track. Okay. So here, and I'll get you a 30-minute setup, Reese, because it's in alignment with these fibs coming to the upside. So shallow retracement pushing into the 118 to 127 zone here, right? And we'll see how the market responds there. Reese dropped the setup for us in the community. Boom. On the 30-minute, right? So this could be in alignment with a retracement and then a continuation to the upside if price is going to get to that 382 on the 4 hour time frame on this dollar CAD, right? So let's watch for this opportunity, excuse me, and then potentially giving us a low price to then move back to the upside. Okay, so 80-20 scenario here, and let's look to see if we get a retracement on this as we push into the zone. All right. Like that. And then that pullback into that 382 level, potentially deeper. We'll outline these in black so we can see them. Boom. Right. And then maybe we get a deeper pullback into that 618 level. And for those that may not be in this move to the upside, maybe that gives us the opportunity, to move to the upside with that move there. All right. Boom. So let's watch that and see how things develop on that dollar CAD. But the original move to the upside, over 100 pips. Now looking for a pullback and potential continuation there. Questions on the dollar CAD? My goodness, a beautiful way to start off the new year.
Hi, Ryan.
Jeremy, what's up, man?
Yeah, cool. Just a quick question. Over the weekend, hold on, I'm coming. Yeah, Benny made a point that we should kind of define our mother chart this year and basically stick to it in order to cut down on over trading.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question I wanted to ask is looking at the dollar CAD, if you see the setup on the 4 and you get an initial entry and the trade goes your way, can you go down to the 1 and scale up from there, or just have to stick to the 4 and scale in on the 4?
You can, right? So your overall move, you're tracking off of that 4 hour time frame, right? And especially if you're trading smaller, right? Um, so this is where you're looking for your initial entry zone, right? And so what you then be looking for is you're still tracking it off of the 4 hour, right? But you're just looking for opportunities to add until you get to your take profit level, right? So I say, yes, you can scale into a trade, just being very specific about it, right? It has to come down into your sweet spot, right? Your stop goes outside the A of that fib on that sub fib to the upside, and then you're tracking that move on that 4 hour time frame. Benny, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, so I definitely say you can, in just being very specific, right? I'm looking for my setups on the 4 hour time frame. Once I enter the trade, um, I can scale in off of the 1 hour time frame as long as price pulls back into my sweet spot and meets my confirmation for that reversal until I get to the take profit level on my mother chart, my primary time frame that I'm taking the entries off of. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Any other questions? No? All right, cool deal. Dollar Swiss. Boom. All right, pushing to the upside. And this is on the 1 hour. We'll go to the 4 as well. This was the 1 hour 80-20 moving long. We got daily resistance coming in at 85,783, which is also in alignment with that DXY, right? In that resistance level. So we'll see once we get there if we get a pullback and a continuation, or if price just turns over, starts making its way back down to the downside for a deeper push, right? On the 1 hour, we're making our way deeper into the fib, right, into the zone. So we'll watch and see how long this pushes. Okay. Coming back to the 4 on the original entry on this, right? We're originally tracking this here, right? So that daily resistance level comes in at that 236 retracement level. So we could see a pullback and a continuation, potentially head and shoulders type action here. Right? If that retracement comes at that level, right? So we'll watch that and see. We'll watch that and see how that part develops, right? Um, but moving in our favor, right? We had that push, didn't get to the D extension, holiday break, takeoff, right? So
To the
looking for
upside, right?
pullbacks and continuations. Yes, ma'am.
I was saying the fib to the upside is at an 80-20, so
Is
on
it?
the 4 and the 1, yeah.
So that'll be in alignment for a retracement then, eh? Yep. Right. So if we get a pullback, retest previous resistance level, which we talked about yesterday also, right? Pullback, retest, continuation to the upside, if that's how things go. But coming into key levels, we'll continue to monitor and watch it, right? Coming back to that 1, there you go. There's that sub fib that Donet's talking about there. Boom. Right. So we'll see. We're pushing long, right? And a really strong move to the upside right now. We'll see if we pause at this daily level and not make it to the D extension. So this one, watch for, look for your confirmations here, right? This is a strong move to the upside. Let's let it run, right? Let's see if we're able to pause at this resistance level and then get that pullback. That makes sense? Cool deal. But that's our dollar Swissy, right? On the move for us in the direction that we anticipate, right? So now we continue to monitor and manage the trade, right? So out of the zone, up 138 pips and running. So beautiful. So 2 pairs, 2 setups, 200 pips to start 2024. All right. So just manage your trade as price moves in our favor, and stop loss and a profit, all those things as we have news, or even take some of your money off the table, right? Going into the data releases and those meeting minutes this afternoon. Okay. Questions on the dollar Swissy? No. All right. Cool deal. What was the other Euro Swissy set up from yesterday? We talked about. So we're looking at price, right? Hey, we created some new lows. Stuff go. Oh, I forgot I did that. All right. But created some new lows, right? And now got the potential for at least a pullback, right? Here on the 4, we got a just shy of 50% retracement, making our way down. Strong bearish action. Do we get a pullback, right? Some relief, and then a continuation short. So coming down to the 1 where we had an 80-20, boom, right? There we go. There's our consolidation. We had to push up. We pulled back. We broke our trend line here, and now we're starting to make our way to the upside. Right? So this one is starting to move in our favor, and we'll continue to monitor this as it does go. Right? But if you entered it sometime last week, right? Thursday, Friday, or if you entered it yesterday on the pullback, now we're moving. Okay, so we'll continue to monitor this one as it gets going and see if we're able to continue to break these trend lines, right? There's been talks about once we break that inner trend line, price tends to gravitate toward that next trend line, right? So we'll continue to monitor those breaks and retests as they go. So that's our 80-20 there on the Euro Swissy. If you're not in it, still got time, right? As price is just trying to get going there. Questions on the Euro Swissy? Nope. All right, cool. So that one, if you entered it off the low, off the pullback, right? That's 46 pips. If you got into this last week, you're up about 70 pips. Okay. So that's Euro Swissy moving in our favor as well. Then we had look at the pound Aussie yesterday.
It's the pound CAD.
Pound CAD.
Pound CAD, I believe it was I think it was Reese, right? That might have spotted it, the 80-20. Beneath. Sorry about that.
Yep. Here we go. Boom. Here we go. We said, hey, let's see if we can get a pullback and then a push. Boom. And we're taking off to the upside on the 4. All right. So there's our 80-20 scenario there. And we are on the move. On the move. Right. So this one is starting to move in our favor as well. All right. We got daily resistance there at 169.289. And this kind of makes sense, right? We're getting that pullback, money coming out of those risk assets, right? Coming out of oil. And you're seeing this retracement come into play, right? And it all comes back and is in alignment from a fundamental perspective. Okay. All in alignment from a fundamental perspective. So it makes sense. It makes sense, right? The zone makes sense. So that's the pound CAD trying to get going there and push to the upside. And that one off that pullback, that's 57 pips to the upside there from yesterday. Okay. Questions on the pound CAD? Nope. All right, cool deal. And then the CAD Swiss. Daily time frame, right? We talked about getting to that D extension and price turning over, right? So now we do have a new swing low here. A new fib will pop in at some point. That'll look something like this. Boom, right? We're pulling back off that fib on the daily time frame, coming to the 4. Right? Here's our 80-20 scenario. We drop down into that 118, 127 zone. We're looking for a pullback at some point. It didn't push into that zone, but we got a little bit of a pullback yesterday, and now price is pushing. right? So we'll see what happens as we start moving into the zone here, but we're moving to the upside. So we'll see if we get a pullback deeper into this zone here. Maybe we don't, but we're pressing to the upside. So we'll see how we navigate through this consolidation that we're approaching, right? But price is starting to move in our favor on the CAD Swiss as well. All right. So come down to the 1 and you see that movement there. All right. Off the B boundary. But here was the pullback yesterday. And then we started to move back to the upside. All right. So that one is on the move as well. That one is on the move as well. So we'll continue to monitor that as it goes. Okay. So off of the low, off of that pullback there, that's another 51 pips to the upside on the CAD Swiss. And we got time to monitor that one as it moves as well. Okay. Questions on the CAD Swiss? Nope. Cool. Let's take a look at this Aussie CAD. Then I'll come back to those dollar pairs.
Man, the forever trade. Still
Yeah,
hanging in
dude.
there.
Yeah, man. I
It
was
can't
excited.
break that daily level.
Man, struggling. It looked like we're trying to get that break now, though.
Yeah, I mean it couldn't get above it. That level right there, man.
Oh, that resistance level. Yeah, it tried.
Yeah,
It
for
tried. It
sure.
tried. It tried. Do I have a fib on the daily? I don't. But it's that daily level that Benny's talking about right here. It tried to break this level. It tried 4 times, wasn't able to do it, and now we're moving back down to the downside, right? And this is an interesting one because you got 2 commodity currencies, right? But we're getting the shift. Takes its time sometimes, but if you're patient and you manage your risk, there's our 80-20. If you're patient and you manage your risk and allow price to do what it does, it didn't get to that D extension, didn't break the level, boom, now we're able to break the support level, which it hasn't broken either, right? So now we get a close below, and then we're looking for a retest and continuations, right? Wherever we get the close, look for a pullback, retest, and continuation. Boom, right? Patience pays, right? Benny says it all the time. Patience pays, patience pays. You got to allow the market to do what it does, right? So now we'll just look for this, right? We'll see how this closes, and then we'll see if we get that continuation, right? But there's the move. There's the move. And we're just pushing back into that 118, 127 zone, right? So look for this one to continue to the downside as we break these levels. All right. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing once you work on yourself and get out of the way. All right. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Being patient, understanding we don't control the market, but getting in alignment with what the market is doing and then getting out of the way. Getting out of the way. Just want to see what these fibs look like on the 1. Boom, there we go. There we go. All right. Questions on that Aussie CAD? You guys still sitting in this one? Yeah. Yeah. Great work. Great work. Great work.
Closed
Great work.
mine.
You closed yours?
Yeah, but I'm looking for to get back in once it
Okay.
break that support.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So boom. On the go. On the go. All right. So let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. What was I looking at here? So daily time frame. This one's going to be interesting, right? Because we got risk off action happening, right? Daily time frame, deep retracement. We got a 382 on the sub fib, but we're pushing to this 8.6 retracement level here, right? So interesting to see what happens as price pushes down here, right? As the dollar data comes out, what happens? Does the dollar continue to rise, or does the dollar shift and come back down, right? And that's going to determine what happens here. We're moving to the downside now off this 8-6 retracement. So this is going to be one to watch, as it depends on how the risk sentiment shifts as well, right? Do we continue to stay in a risk off environment, or at some point do we switch back to a risk on environment after we move through some of the data releases and some of the conversations? Things to think about in the back of our minds as we monitor the market, right? So here on the 4, we just missed this 118, 127 zone, right? And price started to break down. So I didn't get an entry on this one. Price moving to the downside. We're coming into that 382 on the 4-hour time frame. All right. So this one is already on the go to the downside, and we want to watch, right? We want to watch to see how deep it comes, and do we come back to a 618, 786 retracement on the 4, right? Does the dollar continue to push to the upside and get deeper in that AB boundary on the 4-hour on the DXY, right? And then that correlates here, right? A deeper retracement. And then do we get a reversal? So let's watch this and see how deep this comes and see if it comes into our sweet spot on this 4-hour time frame, right? So this is pushing down, coming down to the 1. We can track these fibs coming to the downside here. Boom. All right, so we ran through the 118, 127 zone. And we're pushing lower. This one could potentially run to that D extension. And if it does, that's cool. So let's watch this fib here to see if we continue to the D extension, get a new AB boundary, and then a new 80-20 on a reversal, right? So let's watch and see if we get confirmation here or if we just continue to run to the downside, right? As the dollar continues to run, this one could also continue to run down, at least in the short term. Okay, so let's monitor this and see, wait for additional confirmations on this one, all right? And let's see, do we get a reversal here and a high price to continue down, or do we wait a bit before we get the low price on that reversal? Okay.
Ryan, the fib to the upside, it's at a 618, so could be a good.
Okay, so we got some confirmation there. All right. Appreciate that. Let's slide back. Oh, it didn't pop in. Boom. So let's watch and see, right? Let's watch and see how this develops. Appreciate that, done it. All right, so we're at a 618 retracement on the capital fib. We're pushing down. Let's see how deep this goes. Benny, is the Aussie dollar, does that have a correlation to gold?
No, I mean, no, I don't track it as such.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't track it as such. I mean, we could watch it closely to see,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, you've got, to me, when you look at if there's any correlation, is that you've got the dollar as the counter currency in both pairs.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if we've got dollar strength right now, the Aussie's moving down, right? As a result, the Aussie dollar's moving down as a result. And when you look at gold, yeah, you can have gold correcting as well, right?
Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. Got it. Appreciate that, bro. So let's see. Let's watch here and see how this develops. Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar. Any other questions on this one? Nope. All right. Cool. Euro dollar. Similar scenario, right? Daily time frame, we're pushing down. Pushing down. So let's see how deep we push here. Okay. Got a daily D extension there, right? We've already got a 50% retracement See if this is just a pullback or then reversal to continue to the upside. Coming into the 4, right? It's a close look at that same thing. Here we got a 786 retracement. I mean, just shy of a 786 retracement. So 618 still trying to make its way to the upside. Okay. But here's the scenario on the 1 hour. Similar to that Aussie dollar, right? Shallow retracement. We're pushing down into the 118, 127 zone. So again, let's monitor and see if we get some additional confirmation. Whoops. If we get some additional confirmation and an opportunity for an entry to the upside here. Like so. Whoops. Okay. So this is the opportunity on the euro dollar. We'll watch and monitor to see if we get the additional confirmation, right? With the dollar running, add in those additional confirmation points just for added measure there. Okay. Got 64 for 80. Ba, 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 ba. 110. All right. Questions on the euro dollar. Nope. All right. Cool deal. And then the pound dollar. So pound dollar daily time frame, we pushed into this daily support level. Boom. Right. Strong bearish action yesterday, ran into the support. What's going to happen? Do we get a retracement before we get a continuation south? We zoom out on this, right? We just wicked this 382. Actually, we just missed the 382 there on the daily. So we're still in the 80-20 scenario here on this pound dollar. So at some point, do we get a break of that support level continuation down, but do we get a pullback on the lower time frame first before that continuation? Coming down to the 4. This is the move on the 4, right? It's bouncing a bit, but strong bearish action, and now you see the consolidation. Okay, so when we see that, come down to the 1. That capital fib is similar, right? And then we have AB boundary on the 1, right? So what happens here? Do we get a push to break the level, push into the 118, 127 zone, then a retracement, right? Or does it break that level, continue to fall? So let's watch this here to see if we get this push down into the zone. And then see if we get the pullback. And then some action like that. Okay, so this one we got a little bit of time on, but we got a shallow retracement to see if we can break the B boundary first. Okay, so we'll wait on this one and see if it gives us what we like to see. Okay. Questions on the pound dollar?
No.
Some moving, some need patience on. My bad. What'd you say?
Said no.
No, no question. Cool. So let's watch and see how this develops. And then maybe this just gives us a high price, right? It gives us a high price then with an opportunity to get short. Okay. Yeah, same on the lower time frames. All right, so no questions there. I want to take a look at this pound Aussie also. on my mind. I'm not sure why. Let's see. So daily time frame. So we're pushing to the upside here. Daily time frame. We got an 80-20 scenario. Long push to the downside. And you see we're retracing now. Sub fib B boundary pushing to the upside here. Makes sense from risk off perspective. We also came into the support level at 185.873. Coming down to the 4. Got fibs running to the downside. We didn't quite get into that 118, 127 zone, and we're reversing out. Right? Oh, I know why this is here. Okay. But trying to break this daily level now, 87,606. Trying to break that level and see if we get a continuation to the upside. This one's on my mind from the 1 hour time frame here. We pushed out of this 118 zone here, right? Took our time in that zone. We did get a pullback into it yesterday, right? And my original thought last week was, do we test this daily level and then push deeper into that 118, 127 zone on the 4, right? Or do we break this level and continue moving to the upside? So as we zoom in here, we're trying to break that level, right? So we may not get that pullback into that 118, 127 zone on the 4. We may just get the retracement here, right? So we broke the trend line and move that trend line to the outermost point. It's a little drifted a bit, but what's happening? There we go. We got our trend line break, right? Maybe have the trend line running like that. You got your break, retest, continuation to the upside. So now we're pushing above this consolidation zone here, right? See if we get a pullback and then a continuation to the upside, right? So we can run our sub fibs off the low and track the move to the upside. So we just hit a D extension. We're exhausted. Let's see if we get a pullback, new AB boundary, low price, and then a continuation on that one, right? This 80-20 here is why this one was on my mind. Okay. Come down to the lower time frames, pull these out. And we can run our fib. Let's go 30 and then 15. Run the fib off the low. D extension hit there. Come down to the 15. D extension hit on the 15 as well. So could be in line for a pullback here. And let's see if we get that AB boundary and a pullback. And then could potentially get a continuation to the upside. Okay. So that's the pound Aussie. Questions there? No.
No questions.
All right. All right. Cool. Benny, you got any other pairs? NZD dollar. Before I do that, NZD dollar. Similar scenario, 1 hour time frame. Let's come back. Daily. All right. We got a new level of daily resistance here. Boom. Okay. We're pushing down. All right. Pushing down. So we come to the 4. And we'll run our fib off the low. Price has been moving to the upside. So there we are. We just missed the D extension. We're pulling back, right? We got 382 on the pullback, daily support, pushing to the upside, pull back, see if we get another move back to the upside. So as we come back down to the 1 hour now, here, we can run this fib to the upside just to track that. Right? So deep retracement. We're sitting in the 618 zone, right? Got the move down here. So some additional confirmation here, right? So if we push down into this 118 and 127 zone, could give us an opportunity to get back long there. Okay, deep retracement on the 1, potential opportunity to move to the upside, right? Get to that D extension on the 4, and a move back long. So let's watch this one as well for an opportunity for a buy, right? So all these dollar pairs are in similar, dollar pairs and dollar crosses are in similar scenarios. Boom. Okay, so see if we can get price to push down a little bit further and give us an opportunity. Okay, this is on the sub fib 80-20. But then you got that deep retracement, right? Joe and Jeremy like add that additional confirmation of deep retracements in 80-20s. Boom. Potential opportunity to the upside. Boom. Okay. Questions on this New Zealand dollar? Nope. All right, cool deal. Benny. Any pairs you got your eyes on, bro?
Nope. Just pretty much what we covered, man. So far, so good. So I'm gonna leave it at that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always good to get positive movement at the beginning of the year, so it's a good sign.
It's a great sign. Great sign. Team, you guys, we got a few minutes left. You guys got anything top of mind? Any pairs you got your eyes on? Bitcoin and gold, got you. Drop those into the chat and we can take a look at those. Let's see what happened on Bitcoin. Ooh, we talked about this one yesterday. Look at that. Shoo. Let's see, where'd that fib go? We didn't even get the push into the 118, 127 zone. We just took off to the downside. So now watch, right? Let's see how this moves, right? But looking at how Bitcoin moves, right, with against the dollar makes sense. Dollar pushing to the upside, Bitcoin pushing down. So let's see what happens. Does this continue to move down? Does the dollar continue to rise, right? Do bond yields continue to rise? If it does, we can see this continue to track to the downside. Maybe take out this A boundary. We'll see. Okay, so we'll take this off. We didn't get that push into the zone there. All right. So we're pulling back. So now let's watch and see what happens. Do we turn over, push to the D extension, right? And then get a reset? We'll see. We'll see. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch, but makes sense on the retracement with the dollar running to the upside. Right? So this one makes sense. Let's see how this goes. That's interesting. And there on the 4, there's your 80-20 there. So let's see if we get this continued move to the downside, right? Just breaking back below that 118, 127 zone. And maybe get a pullback in the continuation short. Did you take this move down, Joe? I know you were long one position.
Oh yeah, I closed that long and went short.
Okay, good work. Good work. All right. Got the move, got the consolidation, got the breakdown, right? So now we'll look for a continuation to the downside. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Took its time in that zone, right? Took its time, but you got it. Whew. That's gonna be a fun one on the way down. That's gonna be a fun one on the way down. Questions on this? What do you say?
Can you go to your 1 hour? Because this is
One?
where it stumped me. Oh,
Yeah,
I
this is
guess
where it was
maybe where I
interesting.
got my fib at.
Yeah, right here. Oh, you had the smaller wave runner, right?
Let me see. Yep,
Did you have that one?
I had that
That
big one in the yep, that's the one I had.
Yep. And that pushed into your zone. That's what we were talking about yesterday morning, right? Pushed into your
Yeah.
zone and then slid sideways and took off. Yeah, so that subfit played out beautifully. Played out
Okay.
beautifully. Yeah. Yeah. And it all aligns on that 4 hour, right? Because we were talking about will we push to the D extension before getting reversal or not, right?
Yeah.
and it
And that
stalled in.
blew through 2 daily levels. Um,
Yeah, it had your resistance here.
and see, this is the part where I get to overthinking and I trick myself out of a trade.
What do you mean?
Because so now I'm getting in my mind, once those levels is blown out, they're non-existent. I'm trying to get that in my mind. But
Mhm.
sometimes, the forces may be still can be at those levels. So it's like, okay, I got this engulfing candle, but I got a nice rejection off of it. It didn't break the previous low or the previous A on that fib. Is it going to retrace back? I mean, I know
Yeah.
I don't control the market, but is the daily that strong to resist that level? You know what I'm
So,
saying?
yep, yep, I follow you. So one of the things, and just looking at this, right? We did break this, but it was also somewhat indecisive, right? We did break that level, but it was indecisive on this daily,
Mhm.
right? It didn't close in a strong bullish move to the upside, right? So that's one thing that caught my eye on the daily. So when you come to the 4, yes, it broke that level in a strong way. We're still in that 118 to 127 zone. And this is where, right? This is where having that wide stop comes into play, because you get these scenarios all the time where it doesn't get to the D extension, gets close, moves in a strongly in a bullish fashion or bearish fashion, but it doesn't get to that D extension. So that's where having that wide stop really plays in your favor, right? Because you'll see this action. So just something to think about in your stop loss placement, and just letting it run, right? Just letting it run, because you will get that. Like I said, on the daily time frame, that wasn't a strong close. It was indecisive. On the 4, yes, it looked strong move here, but then you got consolidation, right? And so then it is okay. Then you can say, all right, if price holds at this level and doesn't break it, then we'll look to continue long. But if we get a break of that level, and you can drop down to 1 hour, right? If we get a break of that level, then I know that my bias is shifted to the downside. Does that make sense?
It makes sense because as soon as that happened, I rushed in and moved my stop loss. So since I was operating in fear, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Since I was
No,
operating in
it's real.
fear, I moved my stop loss. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm
Yep.
like, and when I heard you say that the bond yields was going up, and that's what made me go back to look at it. Because first I wasn't worried about it and I didn't move. But once I seen that in golf, and I said, well, let me move my stop loss because that was a violent move and
Yeah.
Bitcoin moved funny.
Yeah. It moves funny, but at the same time, right? You had your fib set up on it, right? You saw
Yeah,
the opportunity, pull the trigger, right? You saw this yesterday, right? You saw that sub fib yesterday, pushing to that 118 one, and even on this one, right? Even on the sub fib, right? Place your stop outside the D and let it go,
gotcha.
right? Like one of the things I really had to force myself to do is give the wide stop and move out of the way. Benny, I had so many conversations about it. I was going back and forth with my stop loss placement. Should I put it just outside the 127 zone? Should I put it outside the D extension? And I literally had to just do it and do it and do it until I got comfortable with it, right? Calculating the risk, boom, and just let it go, right? It does play on you mentally, but again, once you do it, the better you become, right?
I do this at the
So
grocery store when I shop. I put all the stuff in my basket, and by the time I walk up to the register, half the stuff is on the shelf. Followed me back to the register.
I
But
dig it.
I do keep in mind that video Benny shared a while ago about the gentleman. And he was like, if you can't keep your stop in place, then you shouldn't even be trading. I was like, well, let me close my chart for the day. So I do keep that in mind, but I was operating in fear and I just wanted to share
Mhm.
that.
And so the question for you is, when you feel that feeling, what do you go back to check?
I go
Because it's
back,
an emotion,
I
right? So
go
how do we
back
check the
to check
emotion?
my how do I check it? I don't know what's the
Mhm.
correct way. I just look
Mhm.
at and I look at my setup and I put my parameters in and then I'll just move my stop. I don't know. I guess it was just
So
a bad habit because I was just so used to moving my stop.
yeah, so not looking at a right or wrong way, but can you put something in place? A yes or no question, right? So when you feel that emotion of fear coming back to your analysis, yes or no questions. Did price push into the zone that I'm trading?
Okay.
Were my confirmations met? Yes or no, yes or no. If the answer is yes, leave it alone, right? If the answer is no, then you close it, right? And so that then moves you outside of the emotional space and gives you yes or no questions that are very black and white.
I got you.
And that gives you then the opportunity to look at things from more of an objective perspective, right? Stepping outside of yourself and surely saying, did the market tell me this, yes or no? And then make a decision just based on that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewind and write it down.
So when you feel that feeling, and this is a way to check the emotions, regardless of what the emotion is, right? Fear of missing out, fear of loss, all of it. Have those checkpoints in your trading plan on your computer screen, right? When I feel this, I do this,
Okay.
and give yourself black and white yes or no questions. Did it do this? Did it do this? Did it do this? Yes or no? Right? And that allows you to move through the experience, right? Not just guess and go back to, well, I feel like this. So no, yes or no. And now we can move through the experience and be able to actually focus on what's important in the moment, or those yes or no questions.
I got you. So that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get this down. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna
You
put
got
it all together. It's like that 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle that you've been putting together for 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm put it together.
That's the mental part of the game. That's the mental part of the game, right? That's the mental part of the game. Going back and forth through that experience. What does that look like? What does it feel like? How do we then understand how our bodies work? How do we understand our emotions and where they come from? And then how do we utilize them to our advantage, right? Because it's not a negative thing, but it tells you there's something else that you need to look at, and it can guide you in the right direction. I don't want to feel this way. So how can I then move through that so that I no longer feel that way? What things can I put in place that allow me not to feel that way? I can put in place yes or no questions that remove the emotion and allow me to look at things clearly. Now I'm able to move through the fear, move through the uncertainty, because I have a direct path, a direct guide that allows me to. You got it, man. You got it.
All right, now, yeah, it's just yeah. I got it. I got it. Thank you.
Great work. Yep. Great work. Gold. Let's take a look at it. Let me see. I got all kind of stuff happening here. That 80-20 played out. Boom. Let's see. Those are no longer there. Let's clean this up a little bit, good people. Let's see what we got happening. AB boundary push to the downside there. Let's come back to the daily now. And let's walk through it. All right, daily time frame. We know all that happened. Boom. We got a swing high there. Right there. Okay. Moving down. So we'll come to the 4. That's our bounce back and forth there. We're coming off the highs, we're pushing down. Okay. 786 retracement, pushed up, not able to break out to the upside. We're pulling back. Makes sense though with the dollar, right? So we're pulling back there. So we come back to this 1 hour now. And a couple things, right? So if we run the fib off the high, that one got taken out. Cool. So now we got an AB boundary here, running to the upside. Didn't push into the 118, 127 zone. You're getting your retracement. Boom. So we're running
Right.
short.
The fib to the downside is almost the extension. So
Coming, the sub fib coming down.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep. So that's what I'm getting to. Yep. Boom. Right. So you got a 382 retracement there, running to the downside, running to the D extension in line with the 618 retracement level here. So see what happens. Right. Once we get to that sub fib D extension, push through that 618 retracement level, see if we get price to settle in there and get a reversal, right? That'll call for the dollar also to shift. Right. So from a fundamental perspective, what happens with the data that comes out today? What direction does it push the market? Right. So this one I definitely sit and wait on, right, and see how it responds to the data, see how the dollar responds to the data. Right. If the dollar continues to run, we can see this one continue to fall. Right. And maybe it gives us a new AB boundary, and that fall pushes us into a 118, 127 zone, right, inside of this capital fib AB boundary, right? So this will be an interesting one to follow, right, as the data comes out, as those meeting minutes come out, right? If the bond yields continue to rise, could see that continue to drop, right? But if
Especially
they
since
talked
we
about,
have, yeah, especially since we have the 80/20 on the daily, you know. That's another.
you got an 80-20 on the daily,
Well, isn't that what we were looking at right now?
There's a sub fib on the daily that formed the
this
80
right here.
20. Yep.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no, that I didn't have that on my chart initially, but yes, right? That could this makes sense then, right? Because that AB boundary formed at the close of that candle, pushing to the zone, boom. That makes sense. That makes sense.
That 2055 level, it was a significant monthly level that it broke through. It was a previous high.
2055.
Mm-hmm. I had it marked down. I had that marked down on my charts as a resistance level for a while because price reacted at that level a lot.
So somewhere in this range here. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wasn't able to break out 5, right? Doji candle there. Indecision. Decision. Indecision. Do we get a decision candle down? Boom. Let's see. Do we get an evening star pattern that forms here? That'd be textbook. But going back to that daily sub fib, right? That small wave to the upside, that could definitely give you the move down. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense on the sub fib perspective. Now let's continue to monitor it to see, right? We could definitely see that continue to move down. Let's see what the data says, because that's gonna be the fundamental catalyst to make it happen. Yep. Yep. That's gonna be the fundamental catalyst to make it happen. Uh-oh. My charts got mixed up here. There we go. There's that. Take that out. We'll come back to the 4. Yeah, so let's see what happens. Right, that's a small sub fib could be could be that indicator, right? And then the data could give it to us. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see. So maybe we do get right a pullback, high price continuation short. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, we'll check that in the morning and see. Any questions on gold? That's an interesting scenario.
No.
No?
I think for me, it's like just the spatial timing, from the
Yeah,
day.
that spatial awareness is interesting.
It's like, oh, when is it gonna do it? So never does it.
Yeah, it definitely is interesting. It definitely is interesting. Um, navigating through like that spatial awareness is always something that, you know, takes time to develop and see. And so putting both sides together, right? And then for new folks, as you gain a little bit more experience, right? Looking at the capital fib and the sub fib and combining the confirmations, it makes it an interesting story to tell, right? Um, and then adding the fundamental piece on top of it, it's definitely interesting. So we'll see, right? We'll see what the fundamentals tell us. Maybe it continues to run.
But I guess what helped today is that, you said if price does this or if it does that, then I do
Correct.
that as opposed to
Correct. Right? Because especially with the dollar running the way that it is, right? You're coming into a key level. Now you look for those additional confirmations, right? Does price hold inside this AB boundary? Do we get price to settle in? Then do we get a trend line break? Right? Or does price continue to run to the downside, take out that A, and give us new AB boundaries on the way down? Right? And so then if price settles in, breaks the trend line, I'll look for a buy opportunity if price is in a 118, 127 zone. Right? If price does not push into a 118, 127 zone off of a shallow retracement, and I don't get a trend line, I don't trade. Right? Helps box it out for you.
the fuzzy part about that is like, especially like a day like today, when there is news and that thing just takes it right there. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, but that's where the if then statements really come into play, right? Because we know we have fundamentals, right? And we don't recommend trading anticipating those fundamentals, right? So looking to see how does the market move after those come out. Setting it up, right? Running your trend line to the downside, running your trend line or having your cloud on, right? Boom. And now it's clear, right? We're in a deep retracement zone, right? So that part is met. Now, after the data comes out, do I get a trend line break and do I stay inside that AB boundary? Right? And then you'll probably have a more aggressive inner trend line, and maybe you drop down to the 30-minute time frame, something like this, right? So now it's boom, this makes it clear, right? And you can even remove this one. We know we're in a deep retracement, right? Cool. Do I get an 80-20 scenario? Right? Do I get an 80-20? Do I get a trend line break? Right? That D extension hasn't been hit yet, so another push down, I hit it. Do I get an AB boundary, shallow retracement? Does price push into a 118, 127 zone? Right? This area here is your 618 to your AB to your A boundary. Do I get price to push into the zone? right? I'll run my inner trend line. Boom. Do I get a bullish break of the trend line in a 118, 127 zone? Make it as black and white as possible, right? And that's after the data comes out, right? Not before. After the data comes out, do I see this reaction? Because that data is going to push it. And sometimes you can get, spikes in both directions, but it doesn't actually go anywhere, right? Or you could get a spike to the upside and then it turns around and comes right back down. Okay. People get faked out with all that because the people that put the data out are the people that know, right? Or the people that pay somebody to tell them right before the data comes out. Those are the people that know. But for us, I'm not paying nobody to tell me what it's going to do. I'm going to watch and see what the reaction is and then ask, did the reaction push price into the zone that I trade? And if it takes off beforehand, hey, it takes off beforehand. It's just not something that I'm going to trade, right? Really being able to hone in on that and make it black and white to remove that emotion from the experience as much as possible, or question the emotion when it does come into the experience, right? And having those yes or no questions built in to question the emotion to allow you to then make it black and white. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Good
removing that
conversation.
FOMO for sure. And
Mhm.
not thinking price is gonna go away from you. If it does, like you said, it's okay. Then you
Mhm.
just wait for the next do
Wait for
I
the next
get
one.
price? That's my new thing. Do I get price?
Yep. Did it do this? Did it do this? Yeah. Yeah. Tell me it helped me a ton. It helped me a ton to ask those questions when I feel those things. True.
Man, because let me tell you how good it looked for a buy position. And I wish that they say something so it could go my way. I don't want to feel like that no more. So thank you so much, Ray.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But Benny said all the time, if you look at anything long enough, everything will look good. Right. So we can make it look beautiful. We can make it look beautiful. But then the fundamentals come out and destroy our dreams. Right. And the people that put 10 lots on this trade anticipating that it's going to go to the upside and the dollar's going to crash and go to zero. Now they blew 7 accounts, right? As opposed to just being patient and allowing the market to tell you what it's going to do. It's a beautiful game we play. It's a beautiful game we
Like
play.
seeing this here, I would be like, you know what? Everything is lined up. Okay. News is gonna come out and just shoot up. Like,
Yeah,
and
and the thing about it too is this, right? If you calculate your risk, because right, if your thing sheerly is when price gets to that 618 level, I'm taking a trade. Cool. That's beautiful, right? You calculate your risk beforehand. You place your stop outside that A boundary, right? Price push down to that 618 level. That took you in, right? That took you in. Cool. That's okay. That's my entry. Boom. Right? My stop is outside the A boundary. Boom. I calculated the risk. So if price pushes deeper, okay, because I know I'm only risking 1-2% of my account. So if it does continue to run, then oh well. That's 2% of my account that I lost. I knew, and I was okay with losing that because my rule said when price pushes to the 618 level on gold, or I placed a limit order at the 618, right? As price was moving down, I placed a limit order at the 618. My stop is outside the A. The market's going to do what it's going to do. And so you sit and you allow it to do what it's going to do. Right. And that's okay. You can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. But as long as you calculate the risk beforehand, that's where people get lost and get stuck. Right? Because if that's what your rules say done at 61.8, I'm taking the trade. Just like me, when price pushes into the 118, 127 zone, I'm taking the trade. I'm taking the trade. If I'm watching price when price pushes there, I'm looking at my chart, I'm taking the trade, I'm placing my stop outside that 1618 extension level, and I'm letting it go. Calculate the risk and let it go. That's literally what my rules say. And so I take it. I take it. There are some that I lose. Yep. But there's more that I win. So allowing the numbers to play in your favor. So just being specific in those rules, right? And removing the emotion from the experience. Any other thoughts on that?
No, this is good. It's good. I like it. That's playing right in terms of what I want to achieve this year. So
Okay,
definitely
beautiful.
making sure that you calculate the risk.
Must. It's a must. Great work though.
And I will learn not to be so cheap. It'll be okay to lose. I calculated the
It's
risk. I
okay.
still didn't want to lose it.
It's okay. Because then, right? So you cut that trade off, but then it goes in your favor.
Yeah.
Right? And that's us trying to control the market. Price has to turn around at this price point. No, I don't. But price will likely turn around in the zone. Right? Calculate it and let it go. Do a test, right? 100 trades. Take 100 trades where when your rules are met, you take the trade and whatever happened, you calculate your risk, you take the trade, stop losses in its place, and you let it go. 100 trades. And when you don't follow the rules through that 100 trades, you start over. Right?
You say you adding that in the challenge?
We can do that. Let me write it down. We can definitely set that up. 100 trade challenge. Hundred trade challenge. You gotta document your rules, right? Your rules for entry, your rules for exit, stop loss placement. And you got to take 100 trades with those rules. And you can't change it. You can't change your stop loss. The best losers win. Right? But forcing I had to do it. I had to do it. I literally, and again, conversations Benny and I have, right? Ryan, take 100 trades, place a stop outside the D extension, and let it go. When it gets there, take it and let it go. It was a mental shift for me. I had all kinds of emotion bubbling up, but I had to ensure that I calculated the risk and I wasn't over leveraged. That's where people get destroyed. They don't calculate the risk and they're over leveraged. But when your rules are met, take the trade. I'm gonna set it up. I got you. New challenge coming to the community. If you want to take part, it'll be there. We'll get that set up today or tomorrow. You guys good with that? Everybody on board taking this challenge? 100 trades?
100 trades.
Yep, I opened my mouth.
Thanks, Joe.
Let me eat this crow.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Let's do it. Let's
I
do
think a
it.
big part of it is accepting the risk, and that's what
Yeah.
trading in the zone says. Is like that's the paradox. It's like you know that you have to calculate your risk, but are you accepting the
You got to
risk?
accept it. Coming into this game, you have to accept that you will lose trades. So you got to be willing to cut straight to the chase. Things will not go my way all the time. They won't. In trading, you're going to lose trades. In life, there are going to be bad experiences. But how do you manage your risk? Right? Are you able to stay in the game? Are you able to stay in the game? My dad used to always tell me, if your money lasts, your luck will change. We used to play poker. He used to take our money. If your money lasts, your luck will change, right? In this scenario, if you calculate your risk, your money will last and you have an edge. So things will play out in your favor over the long term. But you have to calculate the risk and you have to be okay. You have to accept. Yes, Donette. You have to accept that things will not go your way 100% of the time. But if you're able to stay in the game, they'll go in your favor more times than not. And you guys have seen it. You guys have seen it over and over and over and over and over again that these zones play out. These zones play out. 61.8, they go. If price does not take out the A, it has no choice but to go my way. Place will stop outside that A boundary and allow it to go. If price doesn't hit that D extension on the shallow retracement 118, 127 zone, we're going to see a 382. You guys have seen it over and over and over and over and over again, right? So it's there. The edge is there. Are we willing to commit to it? Are we willing to play the odds and commit to these things?
I pledge that I would take
Let's
this
go, man.
race. It's just, I'm trying to get over for the fact I sit in front of the computer all day and still can't take the trade. So that's what I'm trying to overcome. That's my FOMO.
One at a time.
Yep.
One at a time.
But I'm gonna take this serious, and that Bitcoin is my first one. So I go my first entry.
Beautiful. Beautiful. One at a time, right? We're not gonna make the $1 million tomorrow, right? But if you're consistent in your process, you can get to that $1 million. You can get to that $1.27 million that will create the life that you desire to live. If you're consistent in your process, you manage your risk, and you take it one step at a time. You can get there. It's not going to be with a one-hit quarter. It's not going to be with controlling how the market moves. It's going to be by managing your risk, taking one step at a time, one trade at a time. It's just like going through the prop firm experience, right? People want to, oh, I passed the prop firm challenge real fast, and it's a timing game, and it's really not. It's not a timing game. It's a consistency, long-term game. It's not about how fast you do it. It's about how long can you do it for. It's a marathon. Because you can get you can pass that prop firm, you get that live account on a prop firm, and then blow that account the next day. What did the speed help you to do? Nothing. Because you got to start all over again. Can you be consistent in the process to scale that account starting at $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 to $40,000 to $80,000 to $160,000 to $320,000? Can you scale that? That's the game. That's the game. Can you learn from the losses? Can you scale your process over time to achieve the levels that you desire to achieve?
Ryan, I don't know. I know. Over the weekend, that's all I watched. That's all videos on risk management. I'm telling you, I have committed myself this year to literally calculate every trade, document everything, because I want to see that money in the bank.
Yeah,
Feeling.
yeah. We got some more things coming for you guys too. When it comes to journaling, we got some trade plan stuff that'll be available to you guys. This trade plan stuff will be available for you guys this week. We're working on some journaling stuff as well that we plan on rolling out to you guys too. So yeah, we got some stuff coming that's going to help in this process, right? But all of it is still going to require the commitment from you to take the steps to do it. It's going to require you to commit to taking the steps. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Everything I listened to, you said it, everything. So I guess the repetition of it is really good.
Yeah. And the repetition starts with one action at a time. One action at a time. One step at a time. 1% per day. One lesson per day. Changing one thought per day. That's where you really get the bag. Yes, sir, Benny. There are old traders and there are bold traders, but there are no old bold traders.
Where do we fit in for old, Benny?
Risk management is everything. Hey, if you own a business, every day is not profitable, right? Hell, you may not have a profitable quarter, right? That's why risk management is everything, right? I don't I don't I don't have to make money today or tomorrow. I just want to make money,
Bingo.
right? I just want to make money. And I want to be able to do it consistently over time. But if trading is going to be your business, right, we have to understand if I ran a mom and pop shop, if I work for a corporation, right, every single day is not profitable, but we manage our risk, right? A business every month is not profitable. Right? Our job is to focus on making sure that we keep an upward trajectory overall, right? Higher highs and higher lows. That's it, right? When you look at your trading, when you look at your equity curve, and you look at a business and their equity curve, right? It's all the same, right? When your business is moving to the positive, right? It just doesn't go straight up. You're gonna have higher highs and higher lows, meaning you're gonna have some lows. The key is how you manage those lows, right? So I agree with you 100%, Donette, in focusing on your risk, and to continually work on your trading psychology, right? If you're sitting in a demo and you're scared to take a trade, that is a psychological issue because you're in a demo. Think about that. if you've launched a trade, right? If you've launched a trade in a demo and the trade is in some drawdown, but it hasn't hit your stop and your risk is managed properly, and it hasn't hit the target either, and you get out of the trade, that's a psychological issue because you're in a demo and you're still hesitant. So so when it comes to the real account, you better believe you're gonna have those same challenges, right? I watch videos all the time of people, oh, I trade differently with my own money than I do prop firm money. Those are all smoke screens and excuses. They're lying. Not the truth. And the worst thing you can do is to continue to lie to yourself. Be honest. Right? Be honest. Right? Risk management, your trade psychology. You guys are going to learn the technicals. You guys are going to learn the fundamentals. Some of you guys have it down cold. The next hurdle, right, or hurdles that you have to get over is the psychological hurdle, and the hurdle, that comes along with, trying to finally manage your risk properly. Right? No mystery, right? And I think a lot of us that have been in the group for a while, we're realizing that it's no mystery where our shortfalls are for a lot of us, right? It falls in psychology and the risk management. So great session, Ryan. Great conversation.
Appreciate it, bro. Great conversation. Good people. I told you. Last year, right, we're focused on taking action, right? Setting that foundation. This year, it's about expanding on that foundation. It's about the takeoff. But the takeoff requires the action, and the consistent action, the deliberate action in the plan. So it's go time. It's go time. Look, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Good people. Let's get to it today, man. Let's get to it. Have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll see you in the morning. If you want to continue the conversation in the community, we can hop over there and continue chatting. So we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.